Let's talk Tanya for the 23rd of Tamuz of a leap year. Yesterday, we explained that there is sort of a rope, a metaphoric rope that connects us to God, to the name of Havaya. And this rope is made up of 613 strands. Every time that we sin, we're snipping one of these strands. And there are certain sins for which the punishment is kares, excision, where when we do that sin, we're actually cutting off the entire rope, which was why during the times of the Beis HaMikdash, such a person couldn't survive for much longer, because they were cutting themselves off from their source of life. Obviously, things have changed. The question is what? What has changed? So in today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe explains, when the Holy Temple was destroyed and we were sent off into Galus, into exile, it's not just we were sent into exile, but the Kabbalists speak about something called Galus HaShechinah, the exile of the Shechinah. God also goes into exile, or he went into exile at that time. Now, what does that mean? What he used to be in Israel, and now he's in another place. Obviously, that doesn't apply to God. But what that means is that the divine energy, that internal divine energy, which is the source of the Jewish people, ever since the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, it is in exile. It has entered into Klipa, and to be more specific, Klipas Noiga, which is, we've discussed in the past that there are different levels of unholiness of Klipa. This is not the lowest level, but nevertheless, it is a level of Klipa. And right now, because of that, we have the option of receiving our energy not directly from God, not directly from the breath of God, but as the breath of God enters into the Klipa. A person who sins is making that choice and is receiving the energy through the medium of Klipa. And that is why such a person can even do a sin whose punishment is kares, and that person is cut off from God, and nevertheless that person can continue living. Why? Because they continue receiving their energy from the Klipas Noiga. During the times of the Beis HaMikdash, when the Holy Temple was standing, there wasn't an option. Every Jew, their neshama was directly hooked up and connected to this internal level of Hashem's speech. And if a person messed up and made that partition, that separation, they lost their connection to that source of energy and they couldn't survive. Today, on the other hand, there's a possibility to be cut off from God and still to continue physically to survive. We started off a few days ago talking about that tshuva. In order to really do tshuva, we have to understand the damage that we're doing when we do a sin. I recognize that the Tanya of the last few days is not very easy. After all of us mess up. And understanding the consequence of what we do, the damage that we are causing, is not easy to hear. But it's the only option, because if we don't really understand what we're doing, if we don't get the power that we have and the impact that we have when we do a sin, it's really impossible to resolve never to sin again. The only way, like a little kid, you want the kid not to touch the fire, so you have to put his hand near the fire so they should feel the heat. And this is really what the Alter Rebbe is doing over here right now, is putting our hand near the fire, allowing us to feel the heat, or if we don't feel the heat, at least understand the heat. And really thinking about this, understanding us, allows us to be able to do tshuva. Understanding the damage that we've done. And up until now, we've talked about the damage we're doing to our soul, how we are cutting ourselves off from God. And in tomorrow's Tanya, we're going to find out that the damage that we do through a sin is not limited to the damage that we do to ourselves. There's actually another damage also. And we will discuss that, God willing, in tomorrow's Let's Talk Tanya.